if someone wanted to start learning jazz and they need a little bit of rock and a bit of metal or something, but they wanted to get into jazz, what would the first thing they should do?
It's a very good question. I'd say probably listening is the place to start. Seems an obvious thing to say, but if you don't know the language, if you don't know what you're meant to sound like, it's hard to ever kind of get the vocabulary down. So I'd definitely say listen to some jazz, listen to the greats, try and figure out what you like, what's nice to listen to, what appeals to you, what players you enjoy, what styles of jazz you like, what styles of jazz you don't like, and then maybe move out from there. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. I mean, just it's very important to have that kind of understanding of what it sounds like, and try and find something that you like. Jazz is such a wide subject. There's thousands of different styles. There's bluesy jazz. There's like modern jazz. There's crazy out there jazz, and I think sometimes people get put off by hearing one type and think it's not for me.
I guess from Brecker to Django, you've got everything in between.
Yeah. So find something that really sits with you, that you enjoy, and then try to take something from it. You don't have to play standard jazz. I think you can just take from the inspiration, and learn something that way.
And talking about chord change playing, like, what's the quickest and simplest way to get into a little bit of that?
That's a very good question. I think, you can do an awful lot with pentatonic scales, because the minor pentatonic outlines a minor chord. You can just move the minor third up to a major third, which will outline a dominant seventh chord. You can play the major pentatonic to outline a major or major seventh chord. So already there, you've got ways of outlining it. Beyond that, I'd say arpeggios absolutely is, for me, the key to playing certainly proper sort of standard.
So you're thinking more in arpeggios and intervallics than scale patterns when you're playing?
Yeah, I think, a study of arpeggios strengthens every style of playing you play. It doesn't matter whether you're a blues player, a metal player, a rock player, a country player. A real good study of arpeggios will absolutely improve your playing, but definitely for playing over changes, because you're pinning down the core of the harmony all the time. If you're playing on D minor 7, the strongest notes you can play over D minor 7 are the notes of D minor 7. There's no way you can go wrong with any of those notes. Similarly on G7, if you play a G7 arpeggio, which is the notes of the G7, and on a C major 7, then notes of a C major 7 arpeggio.
So it's a very direct approach to playing.
Yeah, you just can't go wrong. If you're playing the notes of the arpeggio, every note will sound good, every note will work. And it also means that you hear the changes going by and you're playing. They'd say a good jazz solo, you should be able to hear the chords moving without any backing there. So if I play over those changes, hopefully you can hear sort of D minor 7, G7, C major 7 going by. So definitely, and you can obviously learn proper arpeggio shapes, do it all properly, which I'd recommend. But in a very simple level, you can just play around chord shapes. You can just play around these shapes.
Alex, can you recommend any sort of standards that are accessible for people that are intermediate level?
Yeah, something that doesn't move around too much. Like a C minor blues is cool, which is C minor, F minor, C minor. You throw in like one of those A flat 7 and a G7, and it's a familiar enough sound. We can. Let's do a quick example. 1, 2, 3. So you can see here I was sort of doing a lot of pentatonic, but you can use the melodic minor. And I'm still doing like the arpeggio thing like Pete mentioned, a lot as well. that outlines the sound. It's very strong sounding. You can take things like a B flat major and utilize things like that, and then put it on C and E flat, and use that kind of shape. And it works for lots of chords, and if so, you can use the same material that you learn on lots of different chords. So E flat major 7 works the same for C minor as well. So anything you learn, as you say, it strengthens other things as well. So that was supposed to be a little introduction, but we gave you about 5-hour lesson there.
My last question is really, you have completely differing techniques, because you're very much an economy picker, Alex, and you're very much an alternate picker as well. There's a bit of economy in there, but you're far more alternate.
I think it's sort of a mix of.
It's a mixed bag of goodness,
depending
isn't
on
it?
what
But
I'm
I
playing,
noticed that the dynamic you express is very different in your playing. So how do you go about choosing a style that suits you? Or do you think it's just something that naturally occurs in you as you play?
I think, sorry to butt in, but I think the style chooses you. Because, for me, I just love music as a whole, and I listen to whether it's hip-hop, R&B, to jazz, to funk, to rock, whatever, country, whatever it is. And it just influences your head, as you said earlier at the beginning, just listening to stuff. It kind of goes in. For example, like if I'm using... like my finger, that was a bluesy lick, but the concept of using fingers came from country. Yeah. So it's a totally... And so even though it's a country technique, you can make it sound bluesy or, even... or jazzy or whatever. And sometimes I'll just throw in the kind of... the technique from another style into whatever I'm playing over. So I don't tend to ever think in styles as such. I just try to think of playing and let everything sort of infiltrate your brain, and then it comes out, hopefully. So.
Like alcohol. Pete, any last closing comments to people that are beginning to learn guitar?
I was going to say, following what Alex was saying, I think in terms of technique, it's important to try and master any kind of technique, because everything will make you a better player. And I never think it's a good idea to only play one way, to only alternate pick, or to only economy pick, or to only be legato. I think, the broader range of techniques you have down, the more you're able to bring out your ideas and your playing, rather than being a slave to a particular way of playing, because a particular way of playing can also limit, the way that you do things. So I think it's important to have them down. And certainly the style of music that you play makes a difference. Playing standards, playing bebop, I think you have to pick more notes and, maybe economy pick as well and stuff. You can't really play legato with that style of music because you're playing over lots of changes very quickly. Whereas if you're playing over a very modal progression where you've got one chord for a long time, then you can play in a very different way. So sometimes the requirements, the progression of the style you're playing over will affect the techniques you choose. And also some people are naturally better at some things than others. I think in the same way as some people are natural guitar players, some people are natural pole vaulters. I think some people are natural alternate pickers, some people are natural legato players. Some people are natural musicians.
Do you guys want to play us out? I think you should play us out.
Just do. Yeah. Equinox sort of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Count us in whatever tempo.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Get a jazz room. Yeah.
Oh man.
Cheers, guys.
I definitely need to get some proper jazz licks, so one day we'll do it again when we can.